Hello everyone. I hope you're going to enjoy the messages that are coming through. This is the first of what I'm hoping may be daily-ish inspired messages, something that you may tune into, almost daily, that will give you maybe something that you need to hear to either validate what has happened in your day or can help you hopefully look forward to the day ahead or be more conscious in the day ahead. Admittedly, I'm wanting to do this type of thing because I have not had a whole lot of time to channel lately. If you're familiar with me, my name is Danielle Srank, also known as the Squamish Medium. I am also the founder of Spirit School, which is a podcast and now a physical school on the Squamish ocean front. And ever since I have built the school, I haven't had as much time or space to channel because I have a big business now. And I will admit that I really do miss the channeling. I used to do inspired messages all the time on my podcast every single month. They were the most popular podcast episodes. And just for some reason, I just, maybe it was through, working so much and having to be so focused on human 3D things. But I had to put the channeling aside to kind of figure out what all of this was and is. So I have been feeling the call. I have been feeling the inspiration in a lot of different ways to get more back into some of that channeling, and then eventually hopefully go back into doing a lot more readings. Of course, I've been a professional medium for over 10 years. I still do mediumship sessions, just not at the volume or capacity that I have before. My career is a lot of teaching now. A little bit of context just for the first video. Just a big experiment. We're going to see how all this goes, see if I love it, see if you all love it. But my hope is to hop in on my work days, on the days that I am creating, I'm teaching, I'm, being in community with people. Sometimes I'll be using cards, sometimes I'll just be channeling what came through inspired. And it's timeless. If you catch it on the day that it posts, that's wonderful. That's when you're supposed to catch it. But if this is something that you're tuning into from the future, then hopefully you hear something that is very much for you today. So let us tune in and just kind of see what's going to come through. Ooh, a lot of reverse cards. Okay. So the first thing that I was really picking up, and I've done my prayers before I came on camera. I meant to do it while I was on camera, but just so you know, whenever I set an intention to be a voice on behalf of the inspired world, of the spirit world, I always do it from a place of service. I say, thank you, Spirit, for allowing me to be of service. Thank you for allowing messages to flow through me today that will help people feel grounded, feel seen, feel expanded, and feel excited about their lives. And yes, so I did all that work before, and as I was doing that prayer work, I was receiving messages around being stuck in making a decision of some kind. And Spirit is wanting to bring to your awareness that whatever it is that you are currently feeling torn by, and it feels like you have to make a decision of some kind, is something that you have actually manifested. I felt like there was a lot of intention behind what it is that you are currently feeling divided by. And isn't that the way? There's actually a big smile from the spirit world on this fact, because you haven't been aware until this moment that this is actually a manifestation coming true. And there's a message here about tuning back into that manifestation energy. You manifested this situation at play, so now you can manifest whatever comes next. But until you have that awareness that you called this in and that you met this opportunity where it's at, you forget that you have to manifest. So this just seems to be a simple reminder to you to have a little bit of gratitude and some more awareness around what it is that you have called forward as well. I also feel that in relation to whatever it is that you are calling in and that you have found yourself in a position to have to make a decision around, that there's some disappointment around it. And it feels like it's an external source or an external circumstance that is accompanying this manifestation with an energy of disappointment. So this could be somebody you were hoping to bring in and collaborate on this that had a different idea around it, and you had your idea around it, and you're realizing that collaboration is not actually working out, or you thought that you would be going to this location and that's not really kind of working out, and you're kind of questioning the whole thing, but it has nothing to do with the location at all. The uncertainty that it feels is because there hasn't been the space and time to sit back and listen to what it is that you desire for that next step. Now, I do feel like a lot of this is for me with one thing that I'm working on right now, though there's not that external disappointment piece, but this reminder that continues to come up for me personally as well around giving myself some of that space. They're reminding me to say that sometimes when we can feel a little bit indecisive and we feel like we could screw up with a decision that we need to make, we can tend to become over controlling in other areas of our lives. So you might find some addictions coming back or some habits coming back. It could be like over focusing on what you eat or your appearance. It could be literally substances, but like there's this out of control, controlling thing that seems to be coming up and happening around this as well. Now, going to the cards, I feel drawn to just say about the things that have come up, and I am going to enhance this experience as we move along. If I do love it and you love it, I will get another camera and I will get the proper mic and all that stuff. But for now, I'm just experimenting and playing. But the first thing that came up was snake medicine. And I'm using Kyle Gray's Angels and Ancestors. I'm just pulling out an oldie and a goodie over here. I was trying to find Asha Frost deck, but I can't find it right now. So I'm using this one. And the reason why you're not clear on whatever is coming next is because you still identify with who you used to be. And what you have called in for whatever comes next requires a shedding of old ways of being, old ways of thinking in particular. I'm hearing like a lot of noise. I'm also getting the sense that you keep checking in with like the same people to like validate you as you're moving along, but they're not the ones that can see the big vision that you also have. So there's a fundamental change that is already occurring that may be resisting because there's a belief it's like, but this got me up until this point, so this has to be what carries me to the next. But there is some resistance that's coming up to be mitigated, to be healed through, that is like a shedding of like an old way of thinking, an old way of being, and inviting in that newer version of yourself into whatever it is that you're calling forward next. So I want to bring up addictive habits again with the night. I know night has really nothing to do with that, but I was really drawn to the word honesty. And when I look at different habits I have had to break through in my life, the antidote to those breaking of the habits hasn't been abstination, it's been truth, right? Like I'm avoiding something. You know, I'm trying to soothe myself in a certain way. I'm trying to self-soothe or self-sabotage or, you know, avoid at some cost. And what the message here is if this is for you and this is something that you are experiencing, being honest with yourself is going to be the way out. It's not going, you again, they keep taking me to this energy of like you wanting to control it and like be controlling. It's like, I got this. I just need more discipline. I need more will. And it has nothing to do with that. It's actually softer, and it's actually reminding me of like the energy of Cancerian season, which we are currently in. We just came over the new moon in Cancer, I believe it was, and it is quite very Cancerian what they're bringing through. That has to be more nurturing than that. It has to be, where have I not been honest with myself? Where have I been bullshitting myself? Where have I been trying to convince myself of something that is really unhelpful? And overall, the message that they would want to leave you with today is sun energy. And this is around your inner radiance. This is around, you know, giving the mind a little bit of rest. It feels like whatever you are calling in, whatever you're recreating, requires a lot of strategy. It feels very strategic. Like it requires a lot of your brain power and your thinking. And Spirit is saying that the way to balance this, to stay more well while you are trying to enjoy this process, and that's what this is all about as well. It's like, don't wish this part away. This is something that you may want to embrace, and they're making me feel to balance this. It's like looking at the parts of it that you do enjoy, and they're also making me feel that you can visualize or envision in advance, like looking ahead, what this looks like from a place of joy. Now, I know that sounds very kind of pie in the sky and a bit woo-woo, but going back to the real message around this is that inner radiance. It's like, give the mind a rest, like tune into the heart, tune into the solar plexus, see yourself as a sun, see yourself like spreading light and illuminating everything around you, even illuminating the truth. If you're like, what is the truth here? What am I avoiding? What truths and honesty do I feel like I need to hear that I'm just not hearing? That might be part of this too, like what can be like illuminated right now. But this is a success card, so it's already written in the stars. It's already a done deal. These are some of the things that we have to think about when we're on our human path, is like, I know this is coming for me, and I know that this is going to happen for me, and how do I want the journey to be to get there? Right? So it's like, is there an opportunity to bring more joy or more awareness around the good, not just seeing the problems? You know, what they're bringing to my awareness is, as I built this school, it's a beautiful school. I have videos of like the tour and stuff like that. Maybe too much. Maybe I went a little bit overboard. Admittedly, I've been told that. Admittedly, I maybe went overboard. But being in the season of creating something that in my mind was a vision of the next version of myself, right? That I had to shed this part of myself to really embrace and embody all this stuff that I had been creating. I got really accustomed to problem solving, and I was honestly like got into the habit of like looking for problems to solve, like what fire needs to put out next, looking ahead 2 months, where do I see the problems kind of arising. Now, I'm a Virgo sun, so that is Virgo-esque as well, but it's almost like my brain got trained to look for shit, to look for problems that I had to try to get ahead of. And so Spirit is bringing that to my awareness, to bring it to your awareness, that maybe there's a habitual way of looking at the world that requires like a perspective shift. God, you know what? I wish I pulled the card, if I could find it. Of course, Thunderbird's right there. But I saw this wind card, and it was about a shift in perspective. We'll see if it kind of comes up. But it was like the bottom card, but I ended up sticking it back in, and I don't know why. I was like, ooh, let's start there. But they're showing me a card that's within this deck that is called the perspective card. So that's what this is really about, being called upon you, is just looking at how can I enjoy this more? How can I bring in a new perspective? How else can I see this? And I get the sense that you will get that clarity once you take that time to like tune into the inner radiance and your inner light. You're going to be like the last card I see, aren't you? I actually missed this deck. I haven't seen this deck for a very long time. Let me see. Of course, you're going to be one of the last decks, aren't you? And the last cards. I just want to show it to you so that you can see what I see in my mind. Okay. It wasn't the last, but it was the fifth to last. Out of however many cards. But this was like the air guardian, and I found this to be quite synchronistic, because in my communities this week we were talking about elements, and I was talking about wind element and these beautiful teachings one of our collective members had brought through around like praying in the wind, using wind energy, using as a clearing, but then also a way to like carry prayers but also hear prayers. And, you know, when I was hosting a retreat last month and I sent people out to the woods for an hour to receive teachings from the tree and bush people, a lot of people came back with teachings from, you know, the wind amongst the trees. And there's a lot of teachings in the immediate environment around us. So if you are looking for a perspective shift and your nervous system or your mind can't get to a place where you can sit in your inner radiance, just go outside, go to a park, go to somewhere where you can feel like a breeze come through, and just pay attention to the wind. Does it carry a message for you? Does nature around you inspire you on how to nourish yourself a little bit more? And again, like my human really wanted to say, what more could you do? What more work could you do? And spirit comes in saying, no, how could they nourish themselves more? That's how come I know it's not for me. Because this is not how I talk and it's not what I focus on. I'm like, how much more work can I do? But this is more around nurturing yourself and nourishing yourself. And these are the prayers that are trying to come through right now, because Spirit's saying, like, you've done enough. Like, you've been doing so much of the work. It's time to stop controlling. It's time to let go and just let what needs to be shed. So hopefully this makes sense for some of you who are drawn to listen to this. Leave me some feedback, if you will, just so that I know if this is something that I should continue doing. But yeah, it was fun, and we'll post it and we'll see how it goes. And maybe I'll be back tomorrow for more spirit messages. Bye.